Check, check, 1, 2. I think we're live. Love how YouTube decides to not give you a go live button every now and then. But let me allow everybody to file on in. Forte will be joining us in a moment. He's just leaving work. He may be joining us while he's on the road, hopefully hands-free, of course, and then joining us fully once he gets in the house, but that'll only be a couple of minutes. Okay. What a good show. What a good show. Let me get hold on. Are not working correctly. Okay, so there we go. I think my mic is good. There we go. There we go. We're 10 by 10. We're looking good here. So this Xbox showcase, I gotta admit, I'll just start off by talking personally that I feel like I thought it would be a good showcase, but it was actually exceeded by expectations. It was a very good show. Definitely better than last year's show. What's up, Big Mike? How's it going, man? How's it going, bro? The Xbox showcase. Oh no, wait, why is it saying no data? Give me a second, because I'm seeing YouTube seems to be tripping right now. Can you still hear me? Maybe it is it's a brother showcase for Xbox. Say Summer Game Fest. Hey, look, man, Summer Games Fest was kind of mid. This was actually pretty good. Okay, we're back. We're back. YouTube be tripping sometimes, but. Yeah, let me go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna say my piece on the show, and then when Forte gets in, he can talk about what the things that he liked. So right off the break, I gotta say that the Black Ops 6 trailer was pretty good. It was a decent trailer. The biggest thing about it is that, you know, as we already knew ahead of time, Black Ops 6 is day one in Game Pass. That there are no additional perks or anything that are going to a particular platform, and that is parity across the board, which is awesome. That's excellent. I think that I'll get into the direct later on that talked about the movement and the new changes that are going on with Call of Duty, but so far, so good. I like what I saw, and it was smart for them to kind of open the show up with that, because you kind of get it out the way, and you kind of show confidence, because usually the first game of the show is something big, but it's not like the biggest thing that you're going to reveal. And by having it be your first thing seen, knowing there are supposed to be, you know, even better things coming on the horizon, that just kind of sets the tone for the entire show. So I thought that was good. Next was Doom: The Dark Ages, and so I thought visually it looks great, because, you know, tech always looks great, but the shield adds a different dynamic in combat. And me personally, I've never been a Doom guy. Like I played old school Doom, pixelated Doom from, like, you know, 3 decades ago. It was okay. Doom 2016, I never played. Doom Eternal, I never played. So for this one, it was like, okay, well, it looks dope. I've never really cared for the way Doom's combat was, but see, adding the shield into the combat kind of brings a different dynamic that I might give it a shot. Now, that one apparently is definitely going to be a multi-platform release. It's going to be available on PS5 at launch and not just Xbox and PC. I've given my opinions on that. I think you keep your first party content to yourself. I think that's better to promote your platform than putting it everywhere, but we don't have to get into that right now. That's not really all that. That's a topic for a different discussion. Next was State of Decay 3, which still no release date. We got, I think they said, I think they may have said 2025 for the release year, but still no release date. Now, I do wonder how much of that was actual gameplay. It did look like it was a mixture of cinematic and gameplay, although it seemed very difficult to tell what was what. Again, when it comes to how you show your game, you need to make sure that whether you're doing a CG trailer that's all cinematics, or whether it's actual gameplay, you gotta make sure that what you show is what people are going to play, and I mean that in the sense of like the way it looks, its art direction, its style, the visual fidelity, all those things need to be consistent. Like take Hellblade 2 for example. I thought that Ninja Theory nailed the look that they showed of it back in 2019 when they did the first reveal. So if you're going to show something, and they have admitted that wasn't a full game when they did it. That was not, they didn't actually even have a game at that point when they did that reveal trailer. So when that's the case, it's fine if you can nail the way the game looks. It's fine at that point. But you set the tone, and you set, and it's like, it's not the player's fault if they don't, if they are disappointed when you set the tone of a game, but then you don't deliver on that. And I think that clearly State of Decay 3 looks way better than State of Decay 2. It's on Unreal Engine 5. The Coalition is working with Undead Labs to help them become more familiar with Unreal Engine 5 and give them all the tools that they also use in developing games on Unreal Engine. So I fully expect visually for the game to reach either the way it looked in the trailer or very close to it, at least on PC. But I probably would have preferred State of Decay 3. You know, if you played State of Decay before, any one or two, you'll clear a house. You go into a home and you'll be like trying to get loot or materials, whatever you need, and you clear it room by room. And then maybe like a bunch of zombies come out and attack you or something. Like it would have been, I think it would have been cool to just show something like that as well, in addition to what we got with the trailer already, just to kind of show people, to kind of alleviate any doubts of how this game is going to play. Because typically when you have like a CG trailer that goes between combat gameplay to cinematics, a lot of people can't tell the difference between the two. And, you know, you don't want any kind of negative impression on the game before it comes out. Alleviate all those concerns by just showing it. You know, that would have been best for me. The next, what they did was they talked about Dragon Age. They showed Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, Dragon Age the Veilguard, I don't particularly care for the art direction. I'm a massive Dragon Age fan, okay? Just Dragon Age Origins is one of my favorite games of all time. I actually enjoy Dragon Age 2. I enjoy Dragon Age Inquisition. I read the books. Look, I'm telling you, I'm a massive, massive Dragon Age fan. That said, some of the Dragon Age games have been ugly. This, like Dragon Age Origin was an ugly game at launch. I didn't mind it. Dragon Age 2, I would say this Veilguard has a very similar art style. So Forte has a very similar art style to Dragon Age 2. But that really wasn't like my favorite look. And I actually think that like Dragon Age 2 might, like as far as art goes, might look better than what I saw with Veilguard. That said, they introduced the characters, they introduced a kind of like a theme of it. Zero gameplay, but we know we're going to get that next week, this is kind of next week, later this week at the EA show. It was okay. It was okay. Forte, Can you hear me? I don't know if you are muted or not. I don't see you muted in Discord. But yeah, Forte, as soon as you can get your mic together, let me know. Anywho, so yeah, Dragon Age Veilguard. I would have preferred some gameplay, but I know we're gonna get that later this week. Xbox has the marketing. Game's supposed to come out actually in, I think they showed it as September. No. I think they said fall of 2024. So it's coming out this year, which is kind of a shocker.
Yo.
I just heard you. Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yo, shout out to the Iron Lords. We just got raided by the Iron Lords. Appreciate you guys for coming through. JD Gamer in the house. Shout out to the Iron Lords podcast. Lord Addict, King David, Lord Cognito, Lord Sovereign. I appreciate you guys for rating us coming through. If you haven't seen the channel before, this is the DPS podcast channel. Gaming Forte, slow-mo backslap in the house. Hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Appreciate you guys. Forte.
I appreciate you saying Gaming Forte and slow-mo backslap. That lets me know that you're not biased.
What bias would you? I would say my name first.
Yeah, because you know how some people podcast hosts out here is like, this show really all about me, so I'm gonna put my name first.
Well, I am a very humble person.
I know you are, and I know you are. That's why I love doing this show with you.
But no. Forte, I started talking about some of the games that were shown. But I did that before you got here. Let's backtrack a little bit, okay? Let's go back to the very beginning, Black Ops 6. How did you feel about Black Ops 6 being the first game shown?
It technically wasn't the first game shown because they did it a minute before the showcase started.
They did. Yeah.
So technically, they did it right at 12:59, and then that minute they used to talk about Black Ops. At first, I thought, I said we already know about this showcase, but it kind of makes sense because a lot of people probably that don't pay attention to Xbox marketing probably didn't know about the people that really knew about it care. But it was like a really good reminder of people like, hey, we're doing our showcase right now, but this is what you can look forward to that we're going to show in the back half of our show leading into that actual show. So I actually liked that they did that just as a reminder, but technically they didn't start with it because it was a minute before, but I still wouldn't have had a problem with it due to the fact that it was just more of an update and reminder like, hey, this is what you can look forward to. We're going to talk about it more during our Call of Duty Direct at the end of this show. But we just wanted to get you excited for everything that we got going on around it. So they spent about 30 seconds to 45 seconds on it, and that was perfectly fine because Phil Spencer came out and basically talked about everything they had going on with that and then what was happening after the fact. So I was fine with it.
I thought it really set the tone well because typically like the first game of the show is like usually like your second best game. Like you try to normally start a show off with like a really strong showing, and then your one more thing at the end is like the best thing you're going to show at the show. So if Black Ops 6 is your first game of the show and is not going to be the best game of the show, that's showing a lot of confidence. To me, when I saw that, I was like, oh, they starting off with Black Ops? Okay. So to me, that was like, okay, all right, so this is going to be, it kind of set the tone like this is going to be a fire show. So after that, they went into Doom the Dark Ages. Now, I said this before, I'm not a massive Doom fan.
Man, that stuff fire.
But it looked good. It looked good, right? And then, like, I think part of the reason I'm not a massive Doom fan is that it's like its gunplay is not really my how I care for my first person shooting. But I did like the introduction of the shield and like throwing the shield that comes back to you, some Captain America stuff going on. I thought that was good. And I thought that like it, for me personally, it got my interest to the point where I will probably try to play this game. Whereas with Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, I had zero interest in playing either of them. Are you going to play Doom Dark Ages?
Absolutely. Dude, let me tell you something, bro. As soon as I saw this, I was like, this is going to play great on an Xbox controller, and it's also going to play great on my PC because that's where Doom. Let's not cap here. Doom is meant to be played on
Oh,
PC.
can I say something real quick? Let me say something real quick.
Yeah.
This girl, this black girl that's in this Fallout 76 commercial.
Yeah.
The one on the phone. I know her.
Really?
Yeah.
Is she somebody you dated back in college?
No. She's much younger than me. It's just not.
Oh,
no.
I mean, you've been talking about. I mean, you know, sometimes these women out here be tricking you with their ages and stuff. You never know.
Yeah, it ain't like that. I just like when I saw her, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Oh no, I can't believe that's her. So like, yeah, I grew up with her cousin, her slightly older cousin. Me and her childhood friends. We've known each other for forever, and so I've known her for forever. I remember her when she was just a little young buck, you know, like in elementary school. So and I knew she was doing theater, so it's not like a unexpected thing to see her in an actual like acting in a trailer, but it was just pretty wild. My bad. Go ahead and continue, man.
So no, I said Slow-Mo told her when she was like 12 years old, like, you keep doing this and you gonna be somebody.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, you gonna be somebody that everybody's gonna recognize, and I'm so proud of you.
In a video game commercial slash trailer, yeah. But no,
No, but I really liked the trailer. I liked how they really. The one thing I liked about, I mean, pretty much the whole entire show, but especially right off the back, is there was no waste of time. There was like
right.
Just got.
It was
right
good pacing. Yeah,
really good pacing all the way through. Like to the point where I ain't gonna lie, Slow-Mo, I was watching everything, and about halfway through the show, the first thing I thought about was I was gonna tweet it, but I wanted to keep it positive. I was like, I love this show. But it's so irritating to see that all of these games that we always kept saying, like once Xbox turned the faucet on and we got a chance to see all of the stuff that they had coming, and they were going to hit you with a barrage of just update after update after game, that Xbox is in the situation it's in right now when it comes to its community and everything, when it comes to like where games are going to go and all this other crazy stuff. I feel like a lot of people kind of like put that to the side for this event, but it's very unfortunate that even has to be a header to like this conversation at all, because this showcase literally shows why you should own an Xbox in your house. It literally showcases everything. It's no reason why a person shouldn't look at this show and be like, I need to go buy an Xbox. They literally showed you from the first thing they showed you from the first millisecond of the show all the way through pretty much the entirety of the show. And Doom just, in that Doom trailer, I was like, I didn't expect it to be... I didn't expect the prequel, which we'll talk about later on about, you know, the other game that's a prequel too. But it seems like they're doing really, really good jobs, and I loved your analogy, what you said about the second game that they showed as a prequel, as the studio basically using that to like wet their feet when it comes to the Unreal Engine, Unreal 5.
We could about Gears E-Day. Yeah, we could get into that. I do think in regards to go back to what you were talking about with games going to other platforms. I think that like they opened that door when they started putting their games on PlayStation, as we all know, and that's never going to go away at this point. And I've always said if just one game goes, it's no different than all games going. That said, I think this showcase, if you're someone that is interested in potentially like playing a lot of these games, I think it's a bigger ad for Game Pass than Xbox itself. And I think that's always kind of been like there, not always, but like so far in this year in 2024, that has been like it hasn't been very clear, but that's a focus for them. That Game Pass is what they want you to subscribe to. Game Pass is what they want you to have. Call of Duty having all, like, if you got Game Pass Ultimate, you're going to be able to get all the perks. that someone who gets like I think I saw this correctly. If you get Game Pass Ultimate, you get all the perks that someone who gets like the highest edition of Call of Duty gets. And so like that's putting your, you know, really where when you claim, well, we really want this to be the thing that people enjoy from us. We want people to subscribe to this. We're willing to go this far in order to make sure that happens. Then yeah, that's what happens when you do that. When you put that focus on that, people who know what Game Pass is goes, "Are you serious? You serious about that?" State of Decay 3. I said this before. I said I'm still a little disappointed that there's no release date. And you know how I feel about trailers where there is like a mixture of gameplay and cinematics. It's difficult to tell what's what. Although with Undead Labs, because they've been working with the Coalition on Unreal Engine 5, I do anticipate the game looking very similar to what we saw. But what were your thoughts about State of Decay 3?
Once again, another game that we needed to see. I'm with you. At least it's not the trailer that they showed us 4 years ago, where we all knew it wasn't going to look like that. We was like, yo, you're doing yourself a disservice by showing the game as a CGI trailer like this. Because you're making it seem like that's what the game's going to look like. I do like that
you
they
set the tone.
Back on it.
Yeah, you set the tone. But which is fine if you can deliver on that, because like think about Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2. When they first showed Hellblade 2 in 2019, it looked amazing. And there were so many people who were just like, well, that's not gameplay. Show us real gameplay. And then when they actually showed the game, you know, and it came out, you know, a few weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it is, it came out recently. It actually delivered on the same visual fidelity and the same look. With that said, okay, well now, yeah, thank you. You delivered on that. But that's meeting expectations. You set the expectation when you showed the game. Now you gotta meet that expectation when the game actually comes out. And so, yeah, I agree with you, man. Like you gotta have something visually that comes close to that. If not, you're gonna leave people disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. But you know, to their credit, they did a really good job once again of getting the games. I'm not gonna say out of the way, but basically showcasing the games that people wanted to see. Yeah. So the fact that this game, I feel like this is like almost the first showing of the game, even knowing they showed off that CG trailer. Now the biggest thing is the next time they show this game, I just want to see all gameplay, full gameplay, pretty much like how they did with one of the games we're probably going to talk about next when it comes to Clockwork Revolution. I think once we get to start seeing games like that more on a consistent basis, I think we'll be fine. But I like what they showed. I'm not going to really hold against them because, like you said, the first time they showed it was a CGI trailer. But this is a nice, good step. And I'm just glad that they're showcasing what the window looks like for Microsoft in the future.
What did you think about Dragon Age: The Veilguard? Forte? Forte, did I lose you? This man, iPhone. Wait, you just muted, unmuted yourself. Are you still there? You're muted again. I don't know if you know that you're muted. Check your microphone and see, because I know you're still mobile. Check your microphone to make sure that your mic didn't switch to something different. Okay, Forte will be back. What you guys are saying in the chat here? Shout out to everybody that came over through from the IOP. Shout out to Texas. Texas is over. Stilo Facts, Michi Dies a Lot, Heated Heavy, 505, JD Gamer, Web Dave in the house. What's up, Web Dave? Hope you're enjoying your Sunday. Hope you enjoyed the show, man. Ramon Terrell, what's good, Ramon? Too many games. This is big fact. Slayer, The Winter Soldier, RRD, Casual K, Michi Dies a Lot. What's up, man? I'll keep talking on what. There we go. Forte.
Yo.
There we go. Ooh, you sound different.
Yeah, I was. What happened was I pulled up to my house and my Wi-Fi kicked
and
in.
the Wi-Fi kicked in. That always happens. I hate when that happens.
And I was like, I was talking and I'm sitting there like, you can't hear me. Then I was like, oh, you know what? My Wi-Fi kicked in. I said, well, I'll just jump on my PC while I'm walking in the house.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So look,
now.
good. Your mic sounds fantastic. Dragon Age Veilguard. What were your thoughts on that?
I was happy for you and Luca. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this looks serviceable. This looks like something that I think they.
But no gameplay. But this is,
no gameplay. But guess what? I think the overall look of what they were trying to show off at least made it seem like it is something that's competent enough to be a Dragon Age game. Because the first thing I saw, because I instantly went to Twitter or X and I saw Luca's post and she was like, all right, Dragon Age, I'm gonna give you a shot. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And that's fine because no one really knows, because like you said, we've been talking about it for years. BioWare is not BioWare anymore. So for us to expect Dragon Age to be classic old stead BioWare or classic Dragon Age, that's kind of shooting for the moon. But if they can at least give you an experience that you would kind of be similar or reminiscent of what Dragon Age used to be, I think that's a win. So just seeing the game, just seeing what we saw, like you said, granted, not enough gameplay, and knowing that it's coming this year.
That was no gameplay. That was zero gameplay.
Right. Yeah, zero.
But the art direction is.
It looked cool enough for me to be like, okay, this is something I'm definitely interested in. So, and the fact that it's coming this year, I thought that was a really, really cool. What did they say? October?
Yeah, I think they said it's October. It's definitely coming out this year, or maybe just fall 2024. But I mean, this game is. It's like I wish there was gameplay, but then also I know that later this week when EA is going to show gameplay, I think it's on the 11th, so that would be Tuesday. They're going to show gameplay, so hopefully that delivers. But like I was talking earlier about like how like Dragon Age is one of those games, and I'm a massive fan of Dragon Age. Origins is one of my favorite games. I even like Dragon Age 2, where a lot of people don't like that game, and I enjoyed the Inquisition. All that said, that like every Dragon Age has like a different art style to it and a different combat system to it, right. and I've always would have preferred some consistency on that front with Dragon Age. The storylines have always been consistently good, but like when in those two aspects, I would have preferred some consistency. And for them, I mean, we'll see how it goes. A lot of Dragon Age fans tend to be in certain camps where they like Origins more than anything, or Inquisition more than anything. But we'll see how it plays out. Right. Next was Starfield Shattered Space DLC. I thought that looked very interesting. I'm definitely going to play it. I've beat Starfield last year. I've actually reinstalled it recently when they did the big May update last month. And I've been kind of playing through my New Game Plus playthrough. I thought the DLC looked interesting, and I'm definitely going to be down for that later this year when it comes out. What were your thoughts on the Forte?
Oh, which one did you say?
Starfield Shattered Space.
Oh, that game looked different. Like it almost looked like they went in. It definitely, the tone of the DLC is different from the base game. It looks like they're diving deeper into like the mythical side of what Starfield is when it comes to this DLC. So it's going to be like more of this fantastic point of view of all of the different things that's going on in it, and more of the extraordinary side of, space exploration, the things that you kind of hope and see and wonder about in the universe. And I think that's a really good way of going, because we always talk about sci-fi games. The one thing that a sci-fi game has a license to do is do whatever it wants to do. It can make its own plight up because it's not tied and grounded to no type of reality. And I feel like they're going in that direction a little bit, and it feels like it's more of a fleshed out version of what Starfield was versus the base game, because the base game had a lot of stuff in it, but after a while of playing it, it felt like you kind of hit its apex around like 25 hours, 30 hours in, and it was just like a bunch of monotonous tasks that you could do unless you did some of the faction stuff, which the faction stuff was really cool. I think that was some of the best parts of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think this being added onto it is just fleshing out the story even more. And then to an extent, a lot of people might play this DLC and the first thing that's gonna come to mind is this should have been there. This is how the game should have been playing since day one. Because that's what I kind of feel like this
but that's
DLC
how people felt. Well, that's how people felt about the May update, because the May update also provided a performance mode on Xbox.
Exactly.
It provided more optimization and better visuals on PC. You know, that's I think when the May update is where I think more than likely the game should have been released instead of releasing it last year. I feel like I've always been don't release unfinished games. And when you add performance modes, to me, that tells me like that's not new content like DLC. That's something that should have been there at launch. And I think that, yeah, absolutely, those were things that they should have had there back when it launched. And if you couldn't do those things at that time, then you just delayed the game until it was ready. Imagine if Starfield, with all that content, with everything that, you know, all the performance modes launched last month, people would be really excited for that. They also got some content coming out tonight, some new locations, new gear, that kind of stuff, which is fine, new bounties and whatnot. So
it was like
I'm probably
like a 3-piece DLC that's coming out today with like you said, new character, new weapon.
No, that's not the Shattered Space stuff. That's not the Shattered Space. The Shattered Space stuff is for later. Did they have a release date on that? I don't think they did.
They still did.
It just says coming. Yeah, I think if you want to nitpick the show, I think something to nitpick about the show is the lack of release dates. There's a lot of release windows and release years, but no actual like firm dates. Another thing that came out later, which is again, I said, you know, the girl I know from the trailer, is the Fallout 76 DLC. I forgot the name of it, but I'm not into Fallout 76, and I tried out Fallout 76 again recently after the Fallout TV show, and it just confirmed to me that this is just not for me. But what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was cool. The number one thing I thought was when I first saw it, I was like, yep, they're going to have something around Fallout in this, because, you know, you got this amazing show that killed it over the course of, you know, the spring, that a lot of people got interested in just the name Fallout again. So I knew they were going to do something most likely around 76. But yeah, from what I saw, the thing is 76 has become, it's got a bad rap for the most part because of the way it launched. And we all know as gamers, most gamers, like if a game isn't the way they want it to be, the day it comes out, a lot of people just lose interest. That was like kind of the same thing that we said why Starfield is probably going to fall off, because a lot of the stuff that should have been there day one wasn't. And by the time you do get that stuff in there, nobody's going to care. Now, the people that care the most about Fallout 76 are the people that just care about Fallout. So that's why people are going back in there. That's why the game is progressing, gotten a lot better over the course of the years and stuff, because they maintain a pretty seasoned player base at this point. So I think this DLC, all it's doing is making the rich richer when it comes to like everything that they love in there. And hopefully they can pull in some of the scragglers that, you know, just found out what Fallout was into this game. Because you could get into it, you know, with your Game Pass subscription, you get a lot of perks and stuff if you're a Game Pass subscriber. So I wasn't surprised that they did it. You know, the biggest thing is I just wish they had something, you know, not ready, but just something that they could talk about when it comes to traditional Fallout to go along with the success the TV show had. But I like what they did when they showcased 76. It's going to bring some people in that didn't really, or was not as interested in Fallout before, you know, the show happened and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's supposed to be like a Fallout London expansion or mod that's coming that's supposed to be based off of Fallout 4. So I know that that's like in the future, but like nothing for them to really be able to speak on officially at this showcase. So it is what it is. The next game might be my favorite game of the show. This is from Sandfall Interactive, and it's called actually it's got this full name. I don't quite. It's like there's some other words there that I don't remember, but it's called I'm calling it Exhibition 33, and I love me some turn-based RPGs, and I whenever I see one that does a very stylized version of its experience with the UI, with the gameplay, I'm always down for it. This is a day one for me, and I like it. I liken it to how I feel about Persona games, because every time you see a Persona game and the way the art direction is, the way they stylize the UI, you know which Persona game that is. Like, you see Persona 5, you know that's Persona 5. You see Persona 3 Reload, you know that's Persona 3 Reload. You can just tell by how the italics is done, how the colors that are used, and like Metaphor Refantastico, whatever it's called. This does that with the gameplay and how you interact with your choices in the turn-based combat. So it looks fantastic. I'm hyped for it. Didn't expect to ever see anything like this at the show. What were your thoughts on it?
Yo, when I first was watching it, I was like, okay, talk about painting and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is different. And the further I got into it, then I saw it was turn, and I was like, Slowmo's gonna love this game. As soon as I saw the turn-based part of it, and I was even more interested in it because it's different. Like, I love the environments, I love the overall the scope that it was portraying. I love the like I said, the aesthetic of the game looked really, really cool, and the story is a little bit more. It's not as out of left field as a lot of other stories when it comes to like games that are in that turn-based, genre type of game. It actually just seemed like really interesting that they kind of like this outside the box thinking, but the combat looked really cool. I liked it. Looked fast. It looked more intentional. And the things that you can kind of do in it. And I mean, it's kind of hard to gauge the feel of something when you're just looking at it versus seeing it on a screen.
Yeah,
but
it also seems like there's a timing base to it, because like I did see somewhere in the menu it said parry, and anytime you see parry, you're gonna need to be able to time hitting the parry button in order to make sure that you execute that parry. And it's just it looks like there is a mix of turn-based combat as well as its own uniqueness of how to implement like actual action into it as well. Visually, I thought the art style looked amazing, and everyone looks dirty and bloody for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it just looks fantastic. I can't wait to play that. But unfortunately, it's not coming out until next year.
Yeah, not to next year, which is fine. At least it had the wherewithal to say a window and not just fade to black. But which is like one of my only issues with this whole showcase. But no, I liked it. I liked what I saw there, and being a person that did indulge in way more games this year and towards the latter part of the end of last year, due to my being able to break away from my the person that held me down the longest in Destiny, I was able to, enjoy a lot of games and get back into that old gaming spirit of just trying new things out and stuff. So this is definitely a game that is on the radar that I'm looking forward to. But I can't lie, the moment I saw that it was turn-based and I saw the way the combat was working, I was like, oh man, Slowmo's probably freaking out right like this. He's like, I didn't expect to see something like this at the Xbox showcase.
Yeah, I was completely shocked. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this
is what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get into the next one, because I think we're going to really want to discuss this. So the next was South of Midnight, which is, this is from a first party developer. This is Compulsion Games. I would say Compulsion hasn't really nailed a good game yet. They had a game, their very first game I think is called Contrast, and it didn't review well. Then they had what's the name of that other game? We Happy Few, which also seemed to be kind of like, they even admitted they had like a focus issue where they didn't know whether they wanted this to be more of a narrative experience or a survival game. But it seems now that like they got their idea, the kind of tone, the kind of games they want to make. And this is one I thought was one of the best showings, because whether you care for the combat or not, or whether you care for the theme or not, it showed the best because it started off with a cinematic, then went straight into actual gameplay.
Yep, so it showed the transition.
Yeah, and I thought the actual gameplay, I liked the movement or the traversal of it. But I said this on Twitter. I don't know if you agree or not. It really reminds me of Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Oh no, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw the combat. I was like, this reminds me of Kena.
Yeah, I mean, and not strictly just the combat, but more so the kind of the game design of like this arena that you're fighting this enemy in. But then after she defeated the enemy,
it's like she was healing the world and stuff.
Yes,
exactly.
Just like the flowers started coming up and that corruption that was all in the environment went away, and I'm just like,
I saw that, that's the first thing I thought of too when I saw that.
Yeah, so I thought the combat looked dope, and I know some people were a little put off by the stop motion. I am as well. I'm not a fan of the stop motion.
But that's only in the cutscenes though, because if you notice it in the actual gameplay, that's not a thing.
True.
If you look at the gameplay doesn't have that stop motion look to it. Like, it's more the aesthetic that they went with when it came to like just the character or the animation, the design of the world looks like the cutscenes, which I applaud them for, because the transition looks amazing going from one to the other. It doesn't seem like this jarring difference when you're looking at the game. It's literally like they just zoomed the camera out from where the perspective was, and you're playing the same game that looks the same. The only difference is the stop motion is taken away, which probably for them, they're probably thinking like, we like the aesthetic of the stop motion graphics when it comes to like the conversational pieces, when it's like more when it's more of like the in-engine version of the game playing, versus we don't want the gamer to feel like they're fighting the controls when it comes to that being a part of combat. Because think about it, if you're looking at stop motion, you're kind of looking at animation timings and stuff, and especially if there's like melee based parrying and stuff, you don't want people to be like confusing the animations for that with stop motion going on. So it kind of makes sense that they did it that way. But the number one thing that really impressed me about this demo, outside of just the look of it, the traversal was awesome. I was like, this traversal looks great. Like, being able to, and I guarantee you this is not something you're going to be right off the bat. I guarantee this is something that's probably a good quarter of the way through the game where you're upgrading. Like I said, they haven't showed us any real information on this, but
I mean, it seems like she has powers, so it's like she's developing. Maybe she develops the ability to do. But I mean, at the same time, maybe that might be something that you learn like in the prologue tutorial phase, because it's definitely the level design is created intentionally with that in mind. Like, she can't get across, like, for example, there's a certain part where she uses the traversal mechanic to get across the swamp, and it's just, I mean, I know it's just water, and this is supposed to be like Louisiana, but it looked like with freaking alligators that like
with buildings,
or like the size of with buildings on his back. I'm like, I ain't trying to get in that water, and more than likely she don't either, so I'm thinking more than likely like that traversal mechanic will be something that's there from the very start. But as far as her abilities and how she grows and the more things that you develop over time, I think that of course, like, she'll develop more abilities as time goes on. I do think that on PC, more than likely, you're going to get a mod, or someone's going to develop a mod where you can take the stop motion away from the cutscenes if you want to. But
what did you think of the the animations of the facial animations of the characters when, like in the scene we're looking at now with her on the back of the fish. Like I was looking at that, I was like, man, this is really good facial animations.
Yeah. If that's consistent with when the game releases, then that's good. Because like this is about, and this is something that like people don't know the roots of Compulsion like that. Compulsion are actually former Arcane, like the founders of Compulsion are actual former Arcane developers. Arcane has always been a developer that isn't been about like photorealistic visuals. They've been more about like stylized art styles because they kind of feel like that direction of art stands the test of time better. And I agree. When you look at like something like Borderlands 2, like Borderlands 2 still looks pretty good, even though they do like a HD texture pack. But outside of that, like that cell shaded look, like it stands the test of time better than like trying to go for a photorealistic look. Because what's going to happen when you go for photorealism is that you're not quite there, and then years later people get used to seeing even better visuals from better game engines and better hardware, and then you start to look dated. These kind of art directions never look dated, and so I think that was a smart choice for Compulsion. And look, this game has definitely raised itself on this profile as far as I'm concerned, because I wasn't really like, I was interested in where they were going with it, but I'm now, after seeing it, I'm definitely pretty excited for it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Next was I think World of Warcraft expansion, which
man, they threw me for a loop. They threw me for a loop with this.
You thought it was Diablo, huh?
No, I knew it was World of Warcraft, but they threw me for a loop. I was like, are they literally about to announce World of Warcraft for console?
Oh, for console, yeah. I know a lot of people thought that was going to happen. I hadn't heard anything in that regard, so I wasn't expecting it. But
I wasn't expecting it either. But when they showed it, I see, this is the thing though. Since we're not like, the only thing Blizzard that I'm really tied to is Diablo, so I knew about the Diablo stuff. But I haven't really been paying attention to World of Warcraft because I like left that whole thing a long time ago. So I really didn't know that they were making a new expansion for World of Warcraft. So I didn't even know this was a thing until today. So I was just instantly like, oh my God, are they really about to? Because I didn't think they were either. But I was like, are they about to do this? And then when I saw it was a DLC for what's it, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But the one thing I would, Blizzard to this day, no matter who they are, however you feel about Blizzard and their games, to this day, they still make some of the best trailers in the industry. When I was looking at this, I was like, oh my good God, I was like, they just make you feel like, the game ain't gonna look nothing like this.
And that's like, my problem with it. And that's why I don't care for like these all CG trailers, because like the game not gonna look like this. I don't really care for the most part. But they're the only ones that can literally do something like this and get away with it. And people know that it's like people literally say like, I can't. It's like people look forward to their CGI trailers though. I think that's the main thing that it is. Like they trust that the games are gonna be good looking and whatever, but the trailers, in their the holes of the trailers, people just look forward to seeing what they could craft, and by telling a story in their cinematics and stuff. And I get it, but I know for people like you're like, I could take it or leave it. So you could have. I could definitely leave it. Yeah, because when you see the actual game is when you're like, oh well, I mean, depending on your taste in games, you're just like, all right, well,
it's not that bad of a looking game though. It's not that bad.
Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater. Let me say this about visually looks good.
Right.
I thought the combat looked janky though.
It did.
And I know, like, I don't know when this is coming out, but they need to kind of polish that up. I guess just the certain parts, I guess, where Snake is taking an enemy down or guard down or something. Are there animation frames missing or something? It just didn't look smooth to me. So I was actually somewhat surprised to see it here. I thought that PlayStation had the marketing for Snake Eater. Maybe I'm misremembering. I thought that they showed this at like the PlayStation Showcase last year. Maybe, I don't know. But all that said, like I thought it was okay. But you know, hopefully they kind of shore that up. I'm not a big Metal Gear fan anyway, so for me, it was never going to be all that for me. How did you feel about it?
I agree. It felt like the combat was a little, you know, whatever. But I also will say that we don't really know the extent of the remake or redo on that type of the game they actually did. But the game itself looked phenomenal. Like when I saw, I was like, oh my God, this looks really, really good. It looks awesome. You know, just like you know, when the shoulder said Metal Gear looked awesome. And it did look awesome. And I'm trying not to nitpick some of the animation frames and stuff that I did see missing in the combat. Maybe that is something that's going to get fixed over time. But then again, you may not even notice it when you're playing the game because, you know, at this point, how old is Snake Eater? It's like most of it hasn't played that in over 20 years at this point. So it might play and feel amazing by the time we get there. But I will always be a fan of the original of all of the Metal Gears because, you know, it was some of the very first stealth espionage games that I ever played. So being able to see that, you know, that older and unique storytelling when it comes to like what they were doing with Metal Gear back then, that's going to be pretty awesome to see. But in general, the game looked phenomenal, and I just want to, you know, I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen with it past that. It wasn't Snake Eater like a PSP game, if I remember at that point.
I don't remember, man. After Metal Gear Solid 1, I didn't really pay attention to Metal Gear.
I like how he had a gator on his head too. That was
that was funny. I kind of laughed at that.
I was like, I was like, he has a gator on his head. This is awesome. But I think it was a PSP game. So, you know, I think anything could play better than that at that time. Oh no, so Romo said it was a PS2 game. So which one? I'm trying to remember which one was the PSP game. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in it though.
And then this is kind of the part of the show where they started to really, but not all the way, but they started to show a lot of DLC. But they did, but I do kind of commend them for kind of mixing in some games that weren't DLC instead, not to completely lose people's interest. Because typically in the middle of a show, when they just start showing DLC of live service or existing games that are already out, unless you are someone who plays those games, you really don't care. And so they kind of sometimes miss a lot of people, or a lot of people start to get bored or disinterested in the show when they do that. Now that said, Sea of Thieves DLC was shown. Neither of us play this, but so I really
since the initial 8 hours I put it in on day one.
Right, same here, like six years ago. So I don't really care for Sea of Thieves like that. We can move on.
But shout out to the people that enjoy it and all the PlayStation gamers that are enjoying it as we speak right now.
Yeah. Next though, and this is why I said like where they kind of mixed it up a little bit. I completely forgot about this game, Flintlock.
Man, dog, I was like, then they gave us the release date this year. I was like, oh,
next month.
Yes,
next month.
July. I was like, what?
Day one in Game Pass too. And look, this game is a Souls-like. I don't think I knew it was a Souls-like before. I thought it was more of just like an action game, but they even said it themselves in the trailer, Souls-like. I thought the little, what is that thing, a mongoose or something, a squirrel or whatever, like little god thing that is working with her. Like I thought that part, that aspect of the gameplay looked cool. Again, this is one of those things where it's like you see, it's. I'm not saying they're trying to fool you or anything, but it's like there's a lot of hard cuts to different aspects of gameplay that look really cool. And I hate for this to be the case, but it kind of reminded me of like a little bit of Atlas Fallen. If you play Atlas Fallen, I was very disappointed with Atlas Fallen. I thought that game was going to be like fantastic on the action front, and I kind of came away from it disappointed. I'm hoping like that's just some things being familiar that made me feel that way, but this game looks good. I like what I see from this, and I'm definitely playing it next month. Are you playing it next month?
Yes, I am. I forgot about this game, and then as soon as I
Yeah.
saw it, I was like, "Oh my god!" I said, "This looks even better for what I saw." And then they put up the July 18th at the end of it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right around the corner, bro." So
Yep. And yo, games
I
coming
probably
out in the
like
summer is so good, and
Yeah, they
I'm
are.
glad that the industry has got out of, oh, we can only release games in certain seasons, because summer used to be overlooked, but now you look at the summer and there's a lot of good games. Like, I think all year long there's just nothing but good games that come out. Next was Age of Mythology, which, look, if you love these kind of games, I'm so glad that you get this. But for me, I was just like, I do not care. I don't care. Forte, what are your thoughts on this one?
You don't like RTSs? You don't
I
like
do.
real-time strategy games?
I do. I just I have to be in the mood for them, and
When
I'm
are
just
you ever in the mood for them?
it's like a broken clock. It happens twice a day. So
Or what? It's like twice. You mean twice a decade, maybe?
maybe. I'm not. Look. I know there are people who love these games, and there's a strong demographic in gaming that's going to eat this up. It just ain't for me. But I'm glad,
Right.
it's there. It shows more variety of different kinds of games in the showcase. But let's talk about something that we all been kind of anticipating for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Perfect Dark.
Man, I knew it.
And look, they answered a lot of questions with this. They answered the questions of whether it's going to be first-person perspective or third-person perspective.
Yeah,
they answered, stealth-based, yes. Visuals look good. Movement looks like Mirror's Edge and Dying Light,
Dying Light.
Now, I did have one kind of thought as I was watching the gameplay. I was like, does this look like really scripted? Like it's not like someone actually playing, but more of like a representation of what gameplay will fully look like. I couldn't quite tell, but it looked good, so I'm not gonna really like knock it for that. Like, this is I thought the whole last half of it. Yeah. I thought the whole last half of it was very strong. And Crystal Dynamics is holding it down. That first person perspective with like espionage and stealth elements, the way they implemented it, the way the UI looks, I thought all that looked very good. And again, like, this is our first time really seeing gameplay. I'm hoping that when the game is fully comes out, it is nailing this look and this aesthetic very well. What were your thoughts on Perfect Dark?
The moment I saw the Initiative's logo pop, and the first thing, did you notice that they didn't even show Crystal Dynamics logo anywhere on this? I don't think
did.
Did they do it at the end?
I'll have to go back to the beginning.
Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I know that I saw the Initiative on it.
Mm-hmm.
I know Crystal Dynamic is still working because they even now
they're doing the bulk of the work.
Yeah, they're doing the bulk of the work. But so I knew we had to see this because it's been so long, and it's like it's like the worst kept secret. But this looked phenomenal, bro. Like, I was like utterly shocked when I saw with this game, because everybody was waiting for the dumpster fire. Everybody was like, because everything we ever heard about Perfect Dark is development problem.
By the way, the chat says they showed both Crystal Dynamics and the Initiative logos at the beginning. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I just missed
I thought I saw them at the beginning. Yeah, I thought they showed both. Yeah,
they probably showed it right after they showed the Initiative one, because I saw the Initiative one, but I probably just didn't see the other one. But we all know that Crystal Dynamic is the main studio working on the game, and it's just in support with Initiative. But in general, I couldn't believe what I was watching, bro. I was like, I felt like you said, all those questions were answered. The combat, the stealth gameplay. As soon as I saw them running, I was like, oh my God, this is like Mirror's Edge. And the up close combat It's like you said, it seemed like it was a little more scripted and stuff, but I just really like how, like, the screenshot that just happened right now, she hits him, blocks his thing, knocks him to the ground, pulls her gun out, shoots the one guy, switches angles and shoots the other one, and comes back and melees the guy on the ground and breaks his visor on the ground. I was like, yo, that's cool. But you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you remember. Splinter Cell, the last one.
Oh man. Darn it! I played that one.
Remember the video they released of him infiltrating the little village, and he had all the little what's names where he was walking around and he was, you know, targeting people, and it was like an event where you target 5 or 6 people, and then it would literally just transition from each person, and it like in a real cinematic way. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something like what they're doing here, as like, you know,
was that Blacklist?
Blacklist, that's the name of it, because Blacklist did that. So I wouldn't be surprised if basically they're just not showing it, but there's like some type of, once you melee, it's like a parry. Once you melee, they melee you, you block it or whatever, and you parry time it, that the world slows down around you, and then icons pop up on the screen and you can like target other people around you, and it systematically does something like that for you if you're in the right scenario. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case and they just didn't show that play out on the screen, because I don't see anybody being able to pull that off just by themselves.
Right, because like at one point she has a gun out, and it's like, I think it's the part, the reason why I said it felt so scripted, but maybe it's not, we don't know for certain. But it was just like the part where she's reloading she's stepping out into the open area, open alley, and there's like 3 enemies in front of her, and she's reloading her gun after taking down other people. And then it's like in the middle of her reload, or maybe as soon as her reload is done, like the guy tries to melee her, and she kind of like blocks the attack, does a takedown, and then like, that's why I was just like, so how would you, and of course these are questions that we don't have because we haven't played the game yet, of course, but it's just right, like, exactly. I'm thinking like, how you were really about to shoot somebody and then you went to a takedown instead. Like, how does that work as far as controls and how the game is? I love to know the answer to those questions, but of course we're not going to find that out for a while now. I think this is another one that, like, they said 2025, right? But no actual month or anything like that, which is, for games that are coming out next year, I'm fine with that. But when it's games that are coming out this year, I'm like, so you're supposed to come out this year and you still don't have like a Valve, for example. We'll get to a Valve later, but Valve still doesn't have a release date, and it's June. It's halfway through the year. Like, what's happening? So, by the way, Valve's supposed to have some extended gameplay coming out tomorrow on the Xbox official Xbox podcast. So we'll see more of that. But to kind of get into so to go a little further.
Well, did you notice? Like I just saw it in the gameplay that you're showing. Did you notice when she slid in, like she shot the guy off the balcony, jumped down, did the takedown, took the gun from him, hit him in the face, and then it cut to a scene where she was sliding. Did you notice after she slid into the one person, shot him? Well, she slid to one person, took him down, and she slid. And did you notice that the game slowed down real slow?
Yeah, I did notice. Like a bullet time kind of thing. Yeah, I did notice that.
That's what I kind of think is happening, where it's allowing you to slow down enough to be able to target people like that, and they're just not showing the actual targeting on the screen, which, like you said, maybe that part of the game, they're just trying to, it's all about making the game look how you want to make it look. I know that's the one thing you kind of hate. Just show me what the actual game looks like and runs and what the physical gameplay looks like. But the one thing I'm just impressed with is the fact that how polished that looks. That's way better than
Texas
I thought it was going to be.
In the chat also believes that part was a cutscene, and I guess that's like
it could have
been. Although I do think it still had the UI up. Like the UI, but maybe, I don't know, I'll have to look at it in far more detail. But no, look, Perfect Dark looks good. Can't wait to see more of that. Then we had the Chihuahua show up, you know.
I was gonna say, I was gonna ask you, how did you feel about Matt Booty? He came up and he talked about, you know, the initiative and everything. After the fact, he looked real dapper in his leather jacket, didn't he, Slow Mo?
I mean, he actually, you know, speaks to the public. He came out and said the words. But no, he introduced Diablo 4 DLC, which I thought, look, we talk about cinematics, because I played Diablo 4 and I know how the story ends and with the main campaign. Seeing that trailer was, you know, I know who the girl was and everything and what they're talking about. If you haven't played through Diablo 4, you haven't finished it, you may be a little lost about what was happening there, but that looked good. And I already know how this is the cases where I don't mind just a CG trailer, because you don't need to show me gameplay at this point. This is an expansion on top of a game that's already been released, and I already know what the game looks like. So I don't care about that aspect. I just want to enjoy, you know, the new things that you're revealing to me. What did you think about Diablo 4 DLC?
Listen, I just started jumping back into it because I didn't like the first season of Diablo 4, and I'm
you're not alone on that.
I didn't like it, so I just kind of put it on a back burner until recently. So I just recently jumped back into the game, but this DLC, like, once again, being a person that played it, beat the story and everything, it really resonated with me when it came to just the overall story beats that they put into that trailer, and I was like, this looks crazy. Because at first I thought it was something different until I saw the girl. And then I said, man, once again, people know what Diablo looks like, but you don't watch Blizzard trailers to get any type of semblance of what the gameplay is going to be like. They're more of vehicles to tell you how they're progressing the story, which I can appreciate, because the way they tell the story in game isn't really conducive to like a viewing experience. It's like they do more of top down. You're talking to the characters. Every once in a while you get like a cinematic cutscene that kind of progresses it. You mostly get a lot of the story beats from stuff like this when it comes to the revealing brand new DLCs, or towards the end of a game, or the context before the game actually starts. So looking at it, I was like, yo, this looks awesome. But ultimately, Slow Mo, what it really comes down to is, how do all of your abilities and and all that stuff play together when it comes to how you can build your character in the game. This trailer looks awesome, and it really showcases what they can do when it comes to like telling a great story, but it's all for naught if the build crafting isn't there. And that's
I've heard this. I haven't played Diablo 4 in a while, but I've heard they've fixed a lot of those things with the most recent season. A lot of that stuff is fixed. And so, yeah, I mean, like, I always felt after I beat the game that I was going to do some of the seasonal stuff, and then I kind of like went away from that once they started to really like drop the ball there. But I always felt, regardless of that, I'm coming back to it once the actual continuation of the story happens, which is what this is. And so, yeah, I'm definitely jumping back on to play this, because it's a continuing I thought was a very, very good campaign. Next we have Fable, which I said I wanted to see Fable, and then I was shocked that they showed Fable. So I'm glad they showed Fable.
I told you it was good. They couldn't get away with not showing Fable. I mean, they could have, but I'm glad they didn't.
Right. This Fable looked like I think I like the trailer because they're setting up the kind of the theme of the story, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I thought that what was really nice about this part was that, like, we saw the character from the previous trailer, the main protagonist. I think so. I don't think they're going to have a character creator in Fable, Playground's Fable. I think it'll be more along the lines of you get to choose between two protagonists, a male or a female. But I think the character model looked a bit better than before. And they kind of introduced, hey, look, this guy's talking about this hero that he kind of like helped bring up, and then she turned out to be a big disappointment. And you think that he's talking about the protagonist we saw from the previous trailer, where it looks like he's talking about someone, and then they show her at the end. And I think that was I thought that was well done. You know, I know there have been a lot of Playground developers that have said everything that you've seen from this game is what is going to look like in game. Again, I'll go back to what I said before, and it'll be a thing that I'll continue to keep saying. How you first show your game sets an expectation, and that's an expectation that you need to deliver. And so the parts where the character is walking around the city of Albion, that looks like straight up what gameplay is going to be, and it looks fantastic. And as far as I'm concerned, like Forza Tech is a very different game engine than anything else that we've seen, and they clearly have had to update the engine for, you know, facial animations, a lot of different walking animations, motion matching, that kind of stuff, because when all you've been using that engine for before is just racing cars and racetracks and environments like that, then of course you don't have the tools on hand to get that done. But it looks like they're definitely nailing it on that aspect. And then they got Eidos Montreal as a support studio who is helping them along as well. So they have people with expertise. You know, if you don't know what the last thing that Eidos Montreal did, they did Guardians of the Galaxy. It's freaking fantastic. So that really is helping them along with some of the areas that they are pretty weak on. And I think it looks good. I can't wait for it to play. Again, this is another one that just says 2025. But this kind of shows, again, what we have always said we wanted from the Xbox games camp is a roadmap.
Right.
We want a roadmap of what's coming in the future. And this clearly is something that shows what's coming in the future. You see this, South of Midnight. Like, next year's looking pretty strong for Xbox. Your thoughts on Fable, man?
It's exactly what I want. I want to see more gameplay. They did show gameplay, but I want to see more. My only issue with Fable is still no release date, no window. That's my only biggest issue with it so far. But it's basically they're staying consistent with the way that they're showcasing the game, you know, with the way that they're doing the narrator with the story beats, and you know how that person is portrayed inside of the world, pretty much like how the original Fable was. So it's like your character and the way that you play and treat other people in the game are going to be very, very crucial to the way that you're going to play the game, pretty much just like the original Fables were. So
yeah, I mean, it'll even affect the way you look. It'll even affect the way you look.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really cool. And it's really cool to like see that they're keeping that as one of the main selling points of keeping it grounded in what Fable actually was, but still trying to modernize it to a point where a lot of more people could be interested in it. So I really like what they show. I just wish they would have did a little bit more in getting us a release date or a window or something for it. But then again, if it's not ready, it's not ready. And at this point, I feel like the end of 2025, maybe 2026 is when we're gonna see this game. It feels like they're just showing.
Yeah, I can see this being like a fall 2025 game, like a later in the year kind of game. But after this, they showed. So these next 3 games is they could have just not had them in the show as far as I'm concerned. Fragpunk is another hero shooter. It's like the age of the hero shooter now. It's been so many hero shooters just in the past 2 months that we've seen revealed or had betas for or just whatever. And Fragpunk is yet another one. I thought the character models look cool, and I've always said this about hero shooters. 2 things: you gotta have fun and engaging gameplay for people to be able to play something that's clearly going to be repetitive and play it for a long periods of time. And then 2, you got to have character models that people like, whether they are attracted to those character models, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whether they just think they look cool, they have to have character models that people will say, I want to play with this character, versus ugly character models or boring character models. And I think they had one aspect of those two things good. I thought the character models looked good. I thought the gunplay looked mediocre to terrible from what they showed of the actual gunplay. And so this is supposed to be coming out in 2025. I don't think it has much of a chance in this very crowded hero shooter market. What were your thoughts on Fragpunk?
I said the same thing when I looked at it. I was like, I just don't know. Not saying that it can't survive or it's not an audience for it. It's just more of it's trying to compete in a world where a lot of established things are already sitting, and you have to be a very special game to catch on to get people to want to come over and play. And then even after you get the people to commit to play, what is the long-term, plan for the game? We saw, think about, we saw games like what's the game from Battlefield developers?
The finals.
The finals. We saw the finals come out fighting like real hard, like 200 and something plus thousand people on an initial day as a peak, and now it's down in the 20 to 30,000s and stuff. So, and that game is still considered a success. So, this isn't something new. We even talk about when PlayStation showcased their hero shooter that's coming out on their platform during their showcase, how, yes, that looks real cool. When it comes to Concord, it looks really cool. I like the direction they're going in with it, but it's coming into a crowded market. So, like I said, unless you're going to find a way to stand out really, really well, there's too much competition in there. But I like that they're taking chances. I don't think enough developers.
Yeah, the card aspect is definitely a different thing that you don't see from other hero shooters. You don't see them implementing cards as a method of which I think done well. Yeah, that done it's definitely different for them, but done well, like the cards that you collect might actually really change up the gameplay and provide some strategy that a lot of you don't really see in a lot of hero shooters, where they're really more focused on team composition and having balance to kind of be able to make sure that your team wins and make sure everyone's playing the same roles that they're supposed to be playing. But this looks, I'm not trying to completely write it off. I just kind of feel like even good games don't do well when they are in a very crowded genre. Where there's, especially when in the age now of live service games, where people don't just play a game and then drop it. They play a game and then they keep playing that game and they keep playing that game and they just go on into the next, battle pass for the next season. And it's just the way things are. And so in order to get people who have invested a lot of time and money into a particular game, move on from that game and play your game, it's really difficult to do that. So we'll see what happens with Fragpunk. The other one was, what is this? Freaking Fightful Goes West looking Winterboro. Yeah, boring and not interested. is yeah, we can move on. Next one was Mixtape, which had like a lot of like Life is Strange kind of vibes to it.
My daughter was super excited when she saw it. She was like, "You see this game?" I was like,
"Oh yeah, I can see her definitely being excited for this."
She was like, "I said it looks like Until Dawn." She was like, "Oh, I know. That's why I was like," because she literally called me at work. And I was like, she's like, "What are you doing? I want to know if you watched the trailer." I said, "What game?" She was like, "This Mixtape." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "It looks like Life is Strange." I was like, "Oh, okay." That makes sense.
Now, I have no idea what the point of this game is. I don't know what the point of the game. Like, they're playing music and they skating down hills, and every now and then they start floating to the sky. And I don't know if that's like if they're on drugs and they're floating into the sky, or they got abilities that make them float into the sky, or maybe they got drugs they take that make them float. I don't know why, but Annapurna Interactive is a good publisher. They publish good games, and I'm a fan of their work. But that said, like, this one is just I don't know what the point is. I don't know what's the purpose of the story.
Right.
It's just young kids listening to music and just being young. They
listen to old Kanye West out there.
It just
that's what
I just don't know the point of this game. Like I just don't know.
But the fact that there are people that were interested enough, like I said, people that sometimes you got to kind of take a step back, and people just see games that look like other games, make them interested. And like you said, Annapurna. I don't even think my daughter even knows who Annapurna is. She just knows the games that she likes.
Most people don't. Mm-hmm.
So when she sees this, it gives her it reminds her of something different, but kind of the same of something that she already likes.
Yo, they on drugs, man. They are on some serious drugs.
You see the warp effect, like they're running, and it's like the world is like warping in and zooming in on itself, and I'm like, look, like I could just imagine them with the only thing they're missing is headphones on, and they're, like I said, they are literally listening to old Kanye West. Put your hands up in the sky, as they're like listening to crazy warpy stuff music. It's crazy, but guess what? This is them expressing themselves in a different way. And the one thing, and we said this on Lucas show on Friday, I think people just have to get to the point where they're looking at games differently now. Like, development costs are up. Publishers are telling you that they're costing too much. Some publishers are not willing to try newer type games because the games that are bringing in the money are the ones that they're already making. So they're trying to stay safe and keep making games like that. But then we're tired of those type of games because there's not enough difference in them to like differentiate what we like to play. And then when they don't make those games, people get upset. So now they're trying to do something a little different now, and I applaud them for doing that. We just have to, as gamers, come to the conclusion like, hey, let's just try some new stuff out to see what that new thing is. Because I do think a lot of gamers have in their mindset, like, I know what kind of gamer I am. I know the type of games I like. But I also think over the course of the last decade, a lot of gamers' attitudes towards the type of games that they play has changed drastically due to just the floodgate of all the AAA games we got. So you're so used to AAA after AAA after AAA, people forgot what AA games actually used to be. How you used to get excited when you just saw a game that wasn't like of the highest tier of quality, but it still interests you because it was good enough, and it was all about what the game was versus what the expectations of what the world think the game is. And I think that's where we need to get back to as gamers. So I like that they're showcasing a game like that, but I instantly know that a lot of people aren't going to vibe with that. Even to like your point, because like you said, I don't even know what this game is.
Yeah, I mean, just seems like a lot of drug. Just seems like a lot of drug use to me. Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think this is the 2024 update. Looks amazing as Flight Sim has always done. But at Flight Simulator, it is a acquired taste. It's going to be people who love this, and they're going to be people just like I'm just flying. I don't really care. But it looks great, and I'm glad that they're continuing to update it, working with Asobo Studio. So that looks great. It's coming in November. Elder Scrolls expansion. Again, like we're still in that little phase of I think it's the part of the last like DLC expansion, this kind of thing that they had. But Elder Scrolls Online's Gold Road, which is a new expansion. I thought the song choice was awesome for the trailer. Other than that, I don't care for Elder Scrolls Online. What were your thoughts about it?
Same. I think at this point, the people that are interested in Elder Scrolls Online are the people that already knew about all this stuff that was coming. But we all know, being one of the biggest publishers out there, Microsoft has to find a way to, showcase all that stuff. And this is where, when they have their annual show, they can pretty much talk about everything. Because the one thing I took away from the show for the most part was 30 minutes in, they showed so much. And I'm like, what else do they have? And then as they went through the show, I was like, oh yeah, they got this, they got that. And you kind of forget how big, pause, how humongous Microsoft and Xbox is when it comes to like their game portfolio and everything like that. So even though it is not something that I'm super into, it makes sense that it's here. It's pretty much just like the Call of Duty announcement at the very beginning of the show. They really didn't have to put that there, but it was more of a reminder of what they were going to be showcasing later, where this is like, hey, we haven't talked about this in a while when it comes to like a world showcase. Like, I don't think they've done anything around Elder Scrolls Online since their June showcase or January showcase. So this is basically just a reminder of everything coming for the rest of this year, maybe through next year, the beginning of it when it comes to this game. And then guess what? You'll hear another update on it when it comes to their next showcase, which will most likely not be until either Gamescom or the January showcase for 2025. World premiere.
Life is Strange. Double exposure. So Max Caulfield is back, and Max Caulfield is the main character from the first Life is Strange. This one's being developed by Deck Nine. For those that like don't nod, first made Life is Strange, and they've moved on from the series. The series, the IP is owned by Square Enix. So Square Enix has Deck Nine that did the Life is Strange True Colors, I think is the Hidden Colors. One of those, True or Hidden Colors, was the last Life is Strange game, and Deck Nine did that one. Deck Nine also helped the new Telltale with the Expanse game, so they're very familiar and experienced with making these kind of narrative games. And this one is taking Max Caulfield, a little bit older, and I guess her powers are different now, and she's now working on like a different kind of mystery thing. It looks interesting, and I have this love-hate relationship with Life is Strange because they always have interesting stories and characters, and I just hate the way the story progresses. Like I'll like the first couple of episodes, and I'll be like, oh man, I'm digging it. They're nailing it, and then it's like it all like falls apart near the end for me. So. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! Like they pulled me back in again. This one looks good. I'm gonna play this one. What about? Have you ever played Life is Strange?
No, I haven't. It's my daughter's thing. I watched her play it before, but I never played it myself.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to come out this October. Kind of a hard month for them, but then the kind of demographic this game is like, if you're most Call of Duty hit, right. It's not going to be much around that time period. That's going to be of a similar kind of game. The people who rock with Call of Duty probably, if they're interested in this kind of game, can just play it and then be done with it, or they're not interested in Call of Duty at all. So I don't really think it matters that this will come out in October. Next was Indiana Jones, which they also showed more of. I think with this trailer, they've definitely nailed the humor and the themes and just the feel of the Indiana Jones IP. I think Machine Games definitely killed it on that aspect. I thought the visuals looked even better than before, and I think it feels like an Indiana Jones experience. That said, when they showed a little bit of more stuff, I have maintained this when it came to when they first showed it, that I kind of wanted this to be in third person perspective because I want to see Indiana Jones. But then also I kind of felt like the gunplay and the gameplay didn't really grab me, and I still feel the same somewhat about this. I don't like when they showed like in the very few parts where they show the actual gameplay, I was just like, it's still kind of just okay, But what were your thoughts on Indiana Jones?
Pretty much the same that it was when I first saw it the first time around. I think they really showed and portrayed what Indiana Jones would be, especially from a cinematic point of view, storytelling point of view. I felt like watching that trailer, I was like, it feels like watching a movie again. I felt like they really showed off a little bit more of how the hand-to-hand combat is a lot better than we actually thought it looked from the first time we saw it, because it, you know how it just looked a little off. It wasn't like it was bad or anything. It just like, and it just doesn't look right. The animations look like they definitely spent a little bit more time polishing that up, because who really knows how old that initial build was that we saw back in the last showcase. So I really, really am even more encouraged from what I saw in this one. And once again, just facial animations and overall the apology of the game, the scale and scope of the game. Watching him right in the sea, holding him over the edge of the edge of the bridge or the building. I was like, this just feels and looks like what Indiana Jones is. And
yeah, I agree.
I at this point, you just kind of suspend your belief in this is a game to an extent. So I think this is going to be, obviously, I'm gonna tell you the truth. This is the closest you're going to get to, I feel like, in overall story, not storytelling, but how the experience of Hellblade was. I think you're going to get, this is going to be the closest you're going to get to the experience of one-to-one of what the protagonist and the story that you saw in any Indiana Jones movies. And you're going to get that same quality that you got like in something like Hellblade 2. And you're just going to get more gameplay, if you understand what I'm saying. It's like you're going to get the mixture of both. You're going to get really good gameplay, really good aesthetics, storytelling. Machine Games, I think, is going to do an amazing job with just crafting the experience of what Indiana Jones is. And I think from a movie standpoint, they're really, really hammering home that this isn't just your run-of-the-mill, you know, first person / third person whenever we want to, you know, take you in between, you know, what we want you to see, interactions in a game. It's going to be more of an experience, and they're really, really homing in on that with these trailers, because for the most part, or demos, I should say, because for the most part, they're showing you more scenarios that Indiana Jones is in, more than just what the day-to-day gameplay looks like. Like, this is literally just a whole scenario that they're setting up. That's going to probably be a situation where you got to find a way to get yourself off of this ship. But this is the build up to be, you know, beforehand. And I think it's incredible, bro. I think it's really, really cool what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see with the gameplay. I'm still the jury's still out as far as I'm concerned with it. Yeah, very, very, with the shooting, with the hand-to-hand combat. None of that looks very good to me.
It looks fine. It looks fine. I can see that you're a very hard grader.
Yeah, especially when it comes to anything that's first-person perspective or have any kind of shooting elements in it. I'm just a little particular about it, but we can move on. Mecha Break, which I've never heard of this one. It's, you know, it's a mech game. I'm not into mech games, but yeah. I guess it looks all right. I mean, do you care about mech games?
I haven't cared about a mech game since Mech Warrior.
Okay, moving on. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. Now look, this game looked dope. This game looked this game looks awesome, yo. Hold me, make sure I get to. So yeah, this I was excited for this one. I like when they started off with just like kind of like a cinematic. I was like, okay, all right, well this is interesting. But then as it progressed on, then I started to see, you know, a little bit with the combat. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm digging this. And yeah, this is one of the games that like I really was feeling, and the part of the reason why I enjoyed the show so much is that I kept seeing surprises that looked really good, and I think that's what really people go to these showcases for. You go to see stuff like this. To see something that 5 seconds ago you didn't know existed, but now you're like, oh man, look at that! I gotta play this. Or games that that you were already hyped for, previously, and see like more of it or more gameplay or to get a release date. Like this is the kind of things that people want from these showcases. And Wu Chang got me. I was like, yo, I wonder if this is the Wu-Tang game that people thought was going to be shown, but it was actually Wu-Chang.
Right.
Wu-Chang. What was your thoughts on?
No, dude, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, this is our replacement for Black Myth
Wukong
that we're not getting, day one. So I think this is like our replacement game for it. And I ain't gonna lie, when I saw it, I was like, yo, this look crazy. This look real crazy. But but this is the thing though, it just lets you know the breadth of content that they can have. Like I don't think there was a genre that they didn't touch during this this broadcast of all the games that's being released inside of Game Pass or just Xbox's ecosystem in general. But yeah, when I saw it, I was like, this is going to be a good year. I mean, I don't think they put they didn't put a release date on this one. But,
no, it's just 2025.
Yeah, 2025. So
it's going to Game Pass too.
But yeah, it's going to Game Pass. But I think anybody that is interested in until we get a chance to see it, I was looking, it's like, man, once again, a game that looks like a Souls game, but faster. A lot of people are going to probably be interested in something like this, and good for them, because I think it's a genre that has been gatekept by so many people to get into. Not saying that this is a Souls game, but just the aesthetic of it kind of makes it feel and look like something like that. But I just think that a lot of people are going to be more interested in games like this, and the ability to see games like this coming to the Xbox platform is really, really great to see, and I'm glad that a lot of people are going to get a chance to enjoy it.
So yeah, next was Avowed, and how do I say this? So I think Avowed, not really. Is actually less shown here than what they showed at the developer direct. And I know that tomorrow, like as I mentioned earlier, the official Xbox podcast is supposed to be showing more extended gameplay for Avowed, which is still supposed to come out this year. But my disappointments with it is that, one, like this trailer, just it's a lot of snippets of combat, but not necessarily after you've and it's like snippets of combat and highly edited after you've already shown us a lot of unedited gameplay, back in January. We still don't have a release date for Avowed, which kind of makes me wonder if this game could slip into 2025. If you still don't, here we are halfway through the year, you still don't know. You could even give us a season. Could even say fall 2024 or winter 2024. You could say in 2024. That's concerning to me. What were your thoughts about Avowed?
More of the same. I do agree with the whole showing snippets of gameplay, but I think it's just part of, like, they just wanted to fill in the gaps. They pretty much showcased all the games they really wanted to showcase in like a bigger way, where, like you said, Avowed, they have this they have more information coming up during the Xbox podcast, and they're going to show off a little bit more of it there. So I think they just said, basically, we don't want to have like a direct dedicated to it right now. So they just wanted to get a little bit or a lot of gameplay elements cut together and probably a 15 to 20 second, snippet that can be placed right here in the trailer, just so we can fulfill the obligation that we had Avowed there. But I think they probably didn't think about people are going to be looking at it like, well, first of all, you didn't showcase a release date. Second of all, it's like it just feels like you're hiding something in the game. even though that may not be the case, it might just be like I said, they just wanted to fulfill an obligation to people that the game will be showcased there, because not everybody's going to tune in to the Xbox showcase or the Xbox podcast to see what they have going on after the fact. This is like their more national showcase where more people than normal are going to tune in and check it out. So maybe that's why they just wanted to showcase something there. But I don't disagree with you. I think the game is, I still think the game's real interesting. I like the art style. I think it's coming off and looking a lot better than it looked even last time. But getting a chance to see more string together, gameplay that is more consistent to show like what an actual environment is going to be like when you're progressing and playing through it with your character or doing attacks and stuff like that is the thing that people want to see the most. And we may most likely get that during the Xbox podcast when they come out with it.
Yeah, I still would have preferred the darker tone, the darker
the original
mood of
tone?
the original trailer. Again, like you said, a certain expectation. People, you can kind of disappoint people when it doesn't turn out to be as you first showed it. That said, I like Obsidian. I think Obsidian makes really good RPGs, and I don't anticipate that they will disappoint us when it comes to the story, the characters, the world, all that aspects. It's just I think, and I kind of we mentioned this last Friday on Lucas Show, that like when it comes to Obsidian, some of these first party developers that Xbox has brought in and acquired, I had an expectation. And just, with these studios being independent studios before they got acquired, that the kind of budgets that they had, the kind of look and the aesthetic of some of their games were mostly due to just, budgetary concerns, not having enough time or resources to be able to do more. And then when you get acquired by Xbox, you expect more. Like when The Outer Worlds 2 comes out from Obsidian, I don't expect it to be, have some of the shortcomings that The Outer Worlds had. I enjoyed the game, but it wasn't perfect. And I think that like some of those aspects you expect to get shored up. Then we see Avowed, and I feel like, aesthetically, Avowed isn't much better visually than what The Outer Worlds 1 was. If you play Outer Worlds 1 on PC max settings, you're looking at very much a lot of like how Avowed looks. And so I just wanted more, I guess. Next was Atomfall, and look, Forte, I don't know if you care about. I did not care about this game at all, like at all. Like there was nothing there for me. I was just like, yo, what is this? I don't care. You did you care about Atomfall whatsoever?
No.
We can move on then. Assassin's Creed Shadows was shown again, and we actually got to see some in-game footage of it. Looks good as usual. Got Yusuke out here looking good. The other girl, can't remember her name. Naoe. Either way, I thought that her combat looked actually pretty cool, pretty dope. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of trucker hat wearing
trucker hat
guys that are a little upset that this is shown again. But for if you're not aware, you can play as just after maybe like some forced missions where you have to use both of them. After that, you can just play as one or the other for almost the entire experience. So for all you guys that crawl out of your basement every now and then to complain about certain things and get a little vitamin D on your skin, you can play as the woman that instead of the black man the entire time, since apparently you anyway. Forte, what were your thoughts about AC Shadows?
I've never been a huge Assassin's Creed person in the first place, but ever since they've been over the course of the last couple of them, I've been a little bit more interested in this stuff. But I don't know if I'm ever going to get into Assassin's Creed to the point where I'm actually going to really care about them, just for the simple fact I still had this jaded this jaded point of view that they still like to just make you do way too much for the amount of gameplay they actually give you. But I think this is going to be really, really cool because they're doing something a little different. They're going to a location that a lot of people have been wanting them to go to for quite some time now. So I think that is something that a lot of people are looking forward to. And without the conservation that's coming around with the game, a lot of people are just going to be looking forward to exactly what this game's going to be, and there's going to be a lot of excitement around it. So maybe I'll give it a try, but I keep saying I'm going to give an Assassin's Creed game a try, and I end up never doing it. So it really just comes down to that at this point.
Yeah. Like I hopefully this one has less like map spam of like everything that you can do on a map, because that's usually what normally turns me off from like the newer Assassin's Creeds. It's just too much to do, and I just feel overwhelmed. But next was Stalker 2, which I would say visuals look amazing, and I think we should commend this developer for basically being able to get this game set for release at a time period where their entire country is embroiled in war, and it's been very difficult on them. At one point, they didn't even have they just had the game delayed indefinitely because they just didn't know if they could be able to get it done, but they did. And shout out to them. Glad that they were able to finally to get it finished. This is due to come out September 5th. I think that's a good time period for them. And I'll be playing it. Are you gonna play it, Forte?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. This is like one of the games I've been looking forward to the most ever since we saw the initial trailer for it and stuff. So me too, just like you, I'm just happy to see that this developer has persevered, especially dealing with real life stuff that's been happening inside the country, stuff that we can't even come close to relating to. I'm just looking forward to seeing exactly what this game and the success that they're going to have from this game. I think a lot of people are going to support this game even more due to everything that's been going on. So I'm looking forward to getting the chance to play it. And every time I see it, I'm just more excited for the direction that they're going in, like storytelling, because we get a really good chance of seeing that. The visuals are top notch, looks freaking amazing. And like I said, it's one of those games that's supposed to came out a couple of years ago, but due to everything in the world, we're finally getting a chance to see it when it's coming up within the next year. So
yeah, and I know there's some people who may not have played Stalker 1, and you may have like a different idea of what they get. Like this is more along the lines of like what a Metro first person shooter is, and not necessarily like your Call of Duties, your Halos, your whatnot. Exactly. So like just to kind of give people an idea of the kind of like tone and gameplay to expect. But it's going to be in Game Pass at long, so I think you guys should definitely check it out. Next was Sarah Bond showing up to show us the new additions to Xbox hardware. And so we have now, in addition to, it looks like they're discontinuing, as we both said that we thought what happened, they're discontinuing the original Xbox Series X. And in that place of that, they're adding actually 2 Xbox Series X's. One is an all-white, all-digital Xbox Series X that's again all white with no disk drive and it's 1 terabyte. The other is a all black Xbox Series X with 2 terabytes of storage. And
are they both digital?
No, the black Series X that's 2 terabytes, it still has a disk drive.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Now,
I swear, we thought they were
okay, hold on. That
I know.
Let's get into the pricing.
Oh, I already know about the pricing, but go ahead.
Because I was a little like taken aback by some of the prices here. Because I'm just like, are you serious? The new pricing structure for games for Xbox hardware is, of course, there is the. Actually, hold up. So yeah, hold on. That is The diskless Xbox Series X is the Xbox Series S is $350. The 1 terabyte one. So look, the original Series S is also discontinued as well, because the original Series S had the 500 gigabyte, right? That was 500. Yeah. So the 1 terabyte Series S is $350 MSRP. Mm-hmm. The diskless Xbox Series X that's white, that's 1 terabyte, is $450. Okay, cool. You know, your MSRP for your Xbox Series X was $500. Typically, the manufacturing cost of adding a Blu-ray player into your hardware is like $40-$50. So okay, cool. $450 makes sense. Mm-hmm. This Xbox Series X that's 2 terabyte, the Galaxy Black, because I guess it's supposed to have a custom skin to it, I guess.
Yep.
That's $600.
Yep, $600.
Yeah. So look,
what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? You barely got anybody buying the hardware as is right now. You come out with a $600 SKU.
That's fine.
I think that's a little bit of a waste of resources.
You know how much a 2 terabyte version of that of the expansion drive costs?
No, but I know that's proprietary, and I also know that storage is dirt cheap right now.
It's not that dirt cheap. It's still
storage is pretty cheap.
So 2 terabytes is still between $150 to $200.
Let me look at it. Let's double check it. But go to Best Buy. I'm gonna put 2 terabyte SSD.
Don't look for the most dirt cheapest.
No, I'm gonna put 2 terabyte SSD.
Look for a Seagate one, by the way, because that's what's in the system now. Just the standard one. NVMe, 2 terabyte. Seagate probably. 2 terabyte.
I got a Western Digital Black SN770. That's $140.
Yeah, $150.
Crucial, which is no one wants, $125. Okay, it's gone up a little bit from when, because it was down like a year ago when I bought some new storage. It was cheaper than.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, prices.
That's it. Okay, so pricing wise, it's not overpriced in regards to what it provides. Although, frankly, this is 4-year-old technology. There's no performance improvements with the series. This is Galaxy Black. So this 4-year-old tech, and there's a 4-year-old APU in there. So I mean, it don't cost as much. It shouldn't cost as much as it did when they're back in 2020. That's it.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
When you couldn't get a real push on hardware sales unless you drop the price $150 for all your SKUs across the board, charging more for a new SKU isn't going to get people engaged. I don't think that you're going to get a lot of people looking for that Galaxy Black version. The white Series X, that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's all digital. I think you get some traction on that one, but you don't have a $500 version anymore now. You have a $450 version, and you have a $600 version. I think they probably wonder, hey, well, we'll probably get a lot of people on that $450 version. I just think that the other SKU is just kind of worth it. I know you disagree. With your thoughts, man?
Why do you think I disagree?
Because you've been pushing back, so clearly you disagree.
I don't disagree that. I mean, I feel like it could be cheaper due to the fact that the power gain isn't there. But I also think that, these companies, I mean, even if you look at like the PlayStation, they haven't really moved prices down on that system. They've raised them
True.
compared to what Xbox is. Xbox is pretty much,
and they made a cheaper version of the PS5 as well, and still priced it where they have it. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, you know, I just feel like you're getting an extra terabyte of space, which definitely a lot of people are gonna love. But I also think we are in a weird place where it comes to the generation that we're 4 years in, and a lot of people are just wondering, like, yo, is there going to be like a price drop or anything like that when it comes to the system or anything? So the fact that that hasn't come, it should just let people know, like, hey, the way that Xbox is kind of looking at this scenario is like, we are still trying to catch up from the money that we feel like we were losing from COVID years and stuff like that. So that's the reason I think they're in the situation that they're in, and the reason that you don't see really a lot of price drops or anything. So yeah, they're kind of getting over on people right now. I'll be the first one to tell you there's no reason that a 2 terabyte system that is 4 years old should cost the amount of money that it costs. But I'm not going to be mad at the situation because the value is still there. It's just that but I don't expect that price to stay like that long term. Like, this is probably going to be what the price is out the gate, but I guarantee by summer of next year, that system's going to probably be $500. You know how it is. They just come out with a system. Matter of fact, PlayStation did that. Remember, they came out with the Spider-Man bundle? It was $500. And then literally 2-3 months later, they discounted it by $50 for like 6 months.
Yeah,
because it was like it was like, okay, let's leverage the fact that this is a bundle with a game in it and charge regular price for it. But then they scaled back and said, this is really how much the system's really worth, guys. So we're going to sell it to you at a $50 discount. And people were getting the disc-based version for $450 for like a good 3-4 months before they raised the price back up. So I just think this is just a temporary thing. I do think it's going to probably be a normal price of $600 through this whole holiday, because that's when it's coming out. And when's the best time to do something like this, Slow-Mo? When people are out shopping. Price really isn't a option or a problem for a lot of people during the holidays, especially depending on what area you're shopping in and stuff, or selling it in. People are usually willing to spend, as long as it's not an exorbitant amount more money than it normally would cost. That's the case. But we also saw people buying X's, Series X's, and PlayStation 5s, not in bundles, like, scalp prices for like $700 for the systems that we have right now for like $800 and $900. So let's be for real here.
But that's a different time period. People ain't going to be spending scalper prices on a 4-year-old console.
Let me ask you something. When when Grand Theft Auto gets announced and these systems become sparse, because guess what's going to happen, Slow-Mo? When they announce Grand Theft Auto next year, and it's next gen only, and people are going to start running to the store to buy this system, because guess what? There are still more people to this day on Xbox Ones and S's and PS4s. We're going to hit a critical mass of how many systems they're going to. I'm telling you right now, next year will break records when it comes to like hardware sold for just this generation. Like, no question asked, 2025 there will be more hardware sold on Xbox and PlayStation 5 all next year than any year of this entire generation, due to Grand Theft Auto being something that releases. And what's going to happen is people are going to want to get that game, and that $600 we're talking about ain't going to be an issue.
They're not buying that $600 Xbox Series X with Call of Duty.
I didn't say they're buying it for Call of Duty. I said Grand Theft Auto. I said Grand Theft Auto next year.
Yeah, this supposed to be a limited edition thing, so it might not even be available.
It might not be, but guess what? If it's limited edition, it's still gonna sell out.
It depends on who has the marketing.
Does it really matter?
Yeah, it matters.
No, it
That's why
doesn't,
they
because
spend millions upon millions of dollars for marketing.
No, that just matters where they buy the game at. It doesn't matter if you still want an Xbox and play on Xbox. That $600 ain't gonna stop you from buying it. It ain't. Just like Brian E said, he said, remember when people talked about how nobody would buy a PS5 Pro at $600? Where are they at now? Listen,
where are they? They haven't even shown the PS5 Pro yet. We don't even know what the actual price is yet.
But the Slumber, but you are you one of the people that believe if that system comes in at $600 that it's not going to sell?
I think it will sell. But PlayStation has a stronger brand power than Xbox does.
No, because that's not true. Because they couldn't.
Yes, wait a minute. What do you mean it's not true?
No, I'm not talking about the brand being stronger. I'm talking about. So what's the difference? They tried to sell a $600 system, 10, 12, 14 years ago, and we laughed at them.
That was 14 years ago, and nobody's pricing was anywhere close to $600 then.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's still they all they did was lower the price by $100, and we're willing to spend. We're more apt to spend $600 on a console now than we were 15 years ago. We were. I mean, people out here spending $600 on handheld.
There is no $600 console that's being sold yet to make that kind of assertion.
Handhelds have.
Handhelds are not not traditional consoles in this aspect. But this isn't a handheld.
It's the same thing. See, we're not about to have this whole argument, this whole discussion about what the difference between a handheld
and handhelds. Hold on a second. Hold on. The most sold handheld is the Steam Deck at like 3 million. They don't sell in like large quantities.
Well, you just remember they said this is a limited edition system. Limited edition system. So we're not expecting them to manufacture these on a consistent basis. You can be able to find this thing on eBay for $450 in 6 months. Okay, there you go. That's what I'm telling. You want to put something on that? I'm not putting anything on. I'm just telling you, I'm not scared. I'm tired of beating you in bets. I don't want to take your money no more. We haven't had.
I don't want to take your money. We haven't, but this ain't gonna be the one. We're gonna move on. No, we're gonna move on.
Why you want to run away from this conversation?
I'm not running. Because I want to actually get back to us finishing this part, talk about Gears E-Day, and then give our overall view of the showcase. Not drone on talking about something that we don't need to be discussing, because you seem to think that this $600 console is going to sell great when the $500 console wouldn't sell. Well, and the $300 console don't sell either.
Also, are we blaming the price, or are we blaming the fact that Microsoft is actively telling people they don't?
I'm telling you, it won't sell. It's all of the above.
Which one?
It's all of the above, Forte.
I need.
What do you mean? No, what?
I need you to take your cap hat off right now. I need
you take your cap hat off. You the one capping.
I'm not capping right. I need
you got a fitted on. You got a fitted Patriots hat on right now.
Hey, listen, man, if they go back to the playoffs, it's gonna be lit. Let's go. I'll buy a Drake May jersey if that happens. But
you ain't buying no Drake May jersey. Look,
I don't want to. Trust me. But listen, but for real though, this is what I need to hear from you, Slow-Mo. So you're basically telling me that. You're basically telling me that the Xbox isn't selling because nobody wants to buy a $500 system.
No,
or are they not buying it? Which one is
more? I'm telling you, nobody wants to buy a $500 Xbox.
Is that why? Is it because nobody wants to buy a $500 Xbox, or because Xbox is basically actively telling people they don't need one?
It's the latter. It's the latter.
No. What's the latter? The fact that they're telling people they don't need it?
You just said it. Yes.
Okay. So so this is what I would say. If Xbox didn't tell people that, then people would buy a $500 Xbox then, right?
Yes.
So what's the difference? So you're getting an extra 1 terabyte hard drive for $100 more. So what?
It's because there's already not selling. We're just going right back.
But
we're talking in circles. then it's not Forte. Then it's not going to sell even at 600. Like it's more. Like what is it providing that's going to get people to buy something? They're telling people not to buy, and they're not buying it because they told people not to buy it.
Xbox is going to sell as many of those as they want to manufacture. They're not going to manufacture more of those.
They're making 20. They're making 20.
No, they'll make more than 20. They'll probably make
200.
What they say, holiday, they'll probably make 500,000 of them.
They're not selling 500,000 copies of that. Excuse. No.
Over the holiday?
No. Think so? I don't think so. No. Okay. Look. Let's get back to the last game, the one more thing that was shown.
I can't believe you right now.
You should believe it. You should believe it, daggone. Anyway, look. Let's get back to that one more thing.
You and Ramon up here thinking alike right now.
Ramon is correct.
I got to have a conversation with you too, Ramon.
So look.
Oh, before you get into is it just me, or does the lovely and amazing looking Sarah Bond, does she not have a ring on her finger, bro? It's something that we need to know about going on here. We're not doing that. We're not talking about that. No. I always look at her hand and I'm like, yo.
Okay, hey, look.
She got a really nice looking rock that she be having on that hand.
Maybe it's getting resized or something. We're not going to indulge in this conversation. It's irrelevant and being doing.
Listen, the slow mo that I used to know would be like, yeah, you know what? I didn't realize that.
Gears of War E-Day was revealed, which is let me quote something that the coalition has stated here. I actually sent it to you too. The coalition says that we're super proud about Gears 4 and 5, and not retreating from that storyline in any way. It's also important to note that Gears of War E-Day is not a spinoff. It's a completely new entry to the mainline series set earlier in the timeline. I don't quite get that. Like, if it's not a spinoff, it's a new entry into the mainline series, but it's not 6. It's like, that's spinoff, bro. This is a spinoff. Like, I don't know why they talking like it's not. It's a freaking spinoff. Now, that's it. I'm happy for it because it looks awesome. I would love to see, a story focused on Marcus and Dom, and really getting into everything that occurred, which I've read a book on I used to read all the novels for Gears of War. I read the book about E-Day through Gears of War, and so I kind of already know the story, but it's cool to be able to experience it in this way and see Dom again, in the flesh. So I do think, my opinion here, I think that they decided to do this not because they didn't want to finish the story with Gears 6, but I feel like with the Unreal Engine kind of coming out underbaked, undercooked, that they wanted to kind of create a story that's a game that's on Unreal Engine 5 as they're trying to get their feet wet with the new game engine. And then with Gear 6, it will be after everything that they've worked the kinks out, crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, it's all good and ready to go as far as their tools is concerned, that they will then have a Gear 6 that would be fantastic looking. And so what are your thoughts about E-Day, Forte?
I really like that they went in this direction. Like I was talking about earlier, when it comes to the prequels and stuff, this is a really good way to set up the impending maybe announcement of like a Gears collection being something that's going to be everywhere at some point on PlayStation, which I truly appreciate Microsoft doing, not talking about anything PlayStation related. They kept it to their showcase, let all that other information. Like I heard that the Doom game is actually coming to PlayStation 2, which is fine. But
at launch.
They did at launch, but they didn't talk about it at the showcase, which is fine, and I appreciate that. Keep this as
a single PlayStation logo at launch. Yeah.
No, and that's all I cared about. But when I saw this trailer, I instantly was like, yeah, I was like, where? I said, this is Gears of War, and I was in the mind of the whole, Marcus Phoenix collection, and I was like, he's not in the prison, he's in a building.
Right. Yeah, that was my thought too.
This is something different. And then when I saw, when he ripped the bandana off his head, I started paying attention. I was like, yo, he's way younger. And then when I saw Dom, I was like, yo, I said, this is a prequel. And then they showed the buildings on fire, and I was like, okay, this is a prequel to, this is basically Emergence Day, how everything got led up to when it came to that with General Ram and everything, or Ram, whatever his name was. But
right. Yeah, that was my same process as well. When I saw Marcus and I saw he was so much younger, I was like, oh, okay, so this is the Gears collection. But I was just like, but he should be in the Slab then. The Slab is the name of the prison that Marcus is in when Dom breaks him out at the very beginning of Gears 1. I was just like, well, he's not in the Slab. He's in this apartment fighting this one locust. So I'm just thinking like, okay, well, that makes sense then. This must be a prequel. Okay, so go ahead.
No, I'm saying, so the one thing it's gonna be cool is getting a chance to see exactly how he ends up in the Slab.
Right. I know the story, but it's gonna be very, very interesting. This is gonna be a good way to introduce people to, if you're, because Gears is from the 360 generation, so it's like there's people who were either not gaming or they're too young to play this kind of game back when it came out. So this would be a good way of introducing those younger generations of gamers to Gears. And then they'll eventually have the Gears collection where it will continue on with 1, 2, and 3. And so this is kind of like, this is good. I don't think this is coming out until next year, but this is all right. I would have preferred to see the Gears collection as well, or at least the announcement that it's coming as well. But it's what it is.
One thing I will say, I saw a lot of people on Twitter or X saying like, I wish I would have saw some gameplay. And I get people on that, but I also know that this is the coalition, and I know what Gears looks like, and they haven't let me down. Look good. They haven't let me down in graphical fidelity yet when it comes to that type of game. And it was really cool seeing Cliffy B come out on Twitter, talk about it. And he was like, see, I told you guys they don't need me to make a good Gears game. So he basically gave a stamp of approval of where they're going with
that's a little bit of, he didn't say see. He said, I guess they didn't need me to make, because he has been advocating they bring him back, because he's been very critical of Gears 4 and 5. So I mean, even though he didn't see gameplay, but I guess the tone and how it's going back to just Dom and Marcus is is what people really care for with Gears. So yeah, I guess with that aspect, they're definitely going back to their roots there. Forte, I gotta go because I'm going out of town tomorrow.
Appreciate.
So let's go ahead and wrap this up real quick. Forte, what was your overall feelings for the show, and what's your score?
Man, this was like hands down the best show they did in quite some time. I think just the overall feel, the overall flow of it was amazing. I think they hit a lot of different genres, so games for everyone. And I think it was a really good mixture, and it was incredible. And if I give it a score, I'm gonna get, part of me wants to give it a 10, but I can't give it a 10 due to the fact that, I wanted to see more around release dates, especially for some of the bigger games that, like Avowed coming out this year, no release date, Fable, no release window or anything. But those are ones that I kind of hold it back on. But the biggest thing I kind of hold it back on is I know that these games are coming to Game Pass. I just want to know how much longer we're going to wait to get the Activision games getting thrown in there. So I deducted like half a point just for that, not knowing that. But I'll give it a 9.5 because I'm not going to really hold against them, the Activision stuff. But those release dates, I kind of need to see those. But yeah, if they would have showed me release dates for games like Fable and Avowed, I would have gave this a 10 because that's the only thing was missing. was release dates for some of the bigger games.
Yeah, that, and I would say I can't really knock them for the things that we thought we would see. I know a lot of people said they thought they would see Final Fantasy 16 there in the release date. You know,
I'm not gonna knock them for that.
A lot of people thought they would see the Gears collection there and didn't see that. But what they did show, I think, was good, very exciting. They showed some games that like I hadn't seen before. And it doesn't, and when it comes to a showcase, it doesn't matter to me if the game is going to be exclusive, timed exclusive, or multi-platform. If it's a game I haven't seen yet, and it looks good, and I'm excited for it, that's good. You know, I'm not going to treat their showcase any differently with any more weight than I treat the Summer Game Fest, as far as what expectations are. And sure, like, because one, I'm a PC gamer for the primarily now, and all those games are coming to PC, whether it's multi-plat or time console exclusive or not. I don't care. So for me, none of that really bothered me. But what it did bother me was, I would say, for some of the games that I guess I'm moving even further away from the way trailers are done, because, you know, I've been highly critical of just CG trailers. I'm always critical of just doing a CG trailer with no gameplay. You're not really selling me like that. You're not showing me an actual game that I want to play. So therefore, until you do show me a game I want to play, I don't care for what you showed. That said, they showed a lot of trailers that had like a mixture of CG cinematics with gameplay, which can be fine sometimes, but also sometimes that can give a different impression of what the actual gameplay is, and can be used as like a marketing tool to kind of get people excited or have a different misconception whether they intend to or not. All that said, I like the way South of Midnight was done, where here's cinematics, and then we're going to go into actual gameplay. And that told me exactly what I need to know about the game, about how it will play, and I like it. And that's what I prefer. And when I don't see that, and I agree with you, when I don't see a lot of release dates, even for games that are supposed to come out this year, that does kind of knock it down a little bit. So for me, I'm gonna stay consistent with where I said it was on Twitter when it was first done. I said it was a 9.5 out of 10. Best showcase they've done in years. I agree. And I even think the last year's showcase was still good, but this was better. And I think they really nailed it, and they did a great job. They should be proud of the showcase they put on. Now they just gotta get these games out, and they gotta deliver on those games. But that's our thoughts on it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed our reaction. Shout out to the Iron Lords for the raid, the redirect. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. We really appreciate you guys. We're glad to have you back again. As far as DPS podcast goes, this will be our show of the week. We might do something, because Forte, I'll be back on Saturday. So depending on what time I get back and how I feel, we might be able to do something next Saturday, next weekend. If as more things come out throughout the week, other showcases, the Ubisoft Forward, the EA Play Connect, all that other stuff comes out, we might have another show, later this week, this weekend, because I'll still be on our usual time on Thursday. I'll still be out of town on vacation. So we'll see what happens. But anything else you want to say, Forte, before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Appreciate ILP for sending over the raid. Appreciate all those guys. Attic is he's live right now on Addict's Arena, doing a reaction to Phil Spencer's interview that's getting ready to start in like 12 minutes. So
I was going to try to send people to him, but I don't think if he's not live yet, then I guess I can't.
He's live right now.
Okay, I mean, you said he's going live in 12 minutes.
No, he is live.
Oh, okay.
He is live. It starts in 12 minutes, but he's live already.
I don't know if because like it's a two-way street. It's like you gotta have. Oh, I don't think we can do redirects from this channel yet.
Can you not?
No, I think you need to have. I think you need to be partnered at that point. So we need to
All
be
right,
at 500.
I am about to drop because I definitely want to show the love, and everybody here just go over to I'm
Yeah,
dropping it.
yeah.
In
Just
the chat.
drop the link to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dropping it in the chat to Addicts Arena, which is his YouTube channel. He does for a lot of the streaming stuff that he does, mostly gaming, but he's doing the reaction over there. Just let him know you came from over here, and once again, we appreciate ILP for doing that for us. For myself, just enjoy the rest of the games that you're playing. Enjoy the rest of this week. It's going to be awesome for gamers, and appreciate all the subs and everything to this channel. So with that, come check us out next week or later this week, and we'll have another great show for you.
Big facts. Well, we are out. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and your weekend. We'll check you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.